Well, Razorback fans, you hired yourself a head coach, and it's Ryan Silverfield from Memphis. Oh, buddy. Let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I'm also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. A little bit of a special podcast for Locked On Razorbacks here today, as I'm going on a Sunday. And usually whenever that happens, you know why. It's because some breaking news has been put out there. And in case you're living under a rock, it's been officially announced by the University of Arkansas that they have hired Ryan Silverfield to be the next head coach of the Razorback football team. It started having reports come out early this morning here on this Sunday. And then it had the things to go along with it with heating up. And then the official announcement was made. I'm going to give some reactions to this, and we're going to talk all about this here in the podcast today. But I'll start with just reading the quote and statement from Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek dealing with the hire of Ryan Silverfield. Quote, "It became clear during our conversations that Coach Silverfield shares our vision of making the college football playoffs and competing for a national championship. With our new and significant financial investment in the football program, we are confident we now have the coach and resources to make that happen. Throughout the process, Coach Silverfield's proven ability to win games over sustained periods separated him from the pack and make him the right choice to be our head football coach. His teams in Memphis have been consistent winners since he took over the program in 2019. The knowledge of our state and region he brings, along with the ability to build and maintain a program, will provide a great foundation for our program moving forward. We are excited to welcome his wife, Katie, and their two daughters, Adeline and Celicia, to Arkansas." That was a statement. And also this video of Ryan Silverfield, he put out just quickly on social media after the news breaks of him becoming the next Razorback head coach.
Razorback Nation, this is your new head football coach, Ryan Silverfield. Can't wait to get to Fayetteville and get started. We're going to bring a lot of success to the Hogs. It's so well deserved. Can't wait to see you. Go Hogs.
That was it. Now, I want to, before I really dive into this, I want to make sure something is clear, folks. I am going to support and root for Ryan Silverfield. I want him to succeed in the highest level, and I want him to be able to be financially set up for that success. And I want it to be true. I want it to be done. I want it to be had. I want it to be nothing but good, nothing but great things for Ryan Silverfield and everybody involved. I want that because I'm a Razorback fan. And my pride does not go as far as to hope that I'm right or hope that any feelings that I have negative-wise come to fruition because I just want to be right. I'd rather the Razorbacks win than me be right. That's all I care about. That's the only thing that should matter to you as a Razorback fan, plain and simple. 100%, I want Ryan Silverfield to succeed. But I feel awful for him. I feel awful for Ryan Silverfield because the fan reaction to this has been, in my opinion, the most overwhelmingly unified message that has been sent from the fan base in quite some time. I have been a Razorback fan my whole life. I've entrenched myself in any sort of news or publications or knowledge or anything like that when it comes to Razorback athletics. I have covered the Razorbacks for over a decade in sports talk radio as well as in podcasting. I've done all of these things. And I don't think I've ever seen Razorback fans be as overwhelmingly upset over a coaching hire ever than this one. I don't even think it's close. And I am just in awe that this was the case, that this was made happen. And I feel bad for Ryan Silverfield. It's not his fault. He's walking into a place to where the fan base is livid and irate. And it's not his fault. It's not because of him. It's because of the University of Arkansas Hunter Yurachek in the athletic department. He may work out, Silverfield. I mean, the record is really good if you just look at it from the perspective on paper. I mean, he's 50-25 at Memphis. He's been there since 2019. The past 3 years, he went 10-3, 11-2, and 8-4. He beat Arkansas this past year. We all get that. He has a little bit of experience in the NFL, but he is a former offensive line coach. He's not become head coach. He also has a pretty awful record when it comes to beating teams with an over 500 record. So this is a disappointing thing. Again, just being honest with you, it's disappointing. I talked about Ryan Silverfield. I never reported it. I'm not going to do that. And we'll talk about the reporting and everything and a good lesson that needs to be learned in all this. But I had been hearing for a while now, like way back when, a few weeks ago, I think I did a podcast on it. It's like when I made a turn from the James Franklin to the next thing, Ryan Silverfield was the name. And it just felt like that was a fourth choice of all the group of five coaches or group of four coaches between Sumrall, Golish, Eric Morris. Silverfield was the last on that list. And now he's your head coach. Meanwhile, Alex Golish goes to Auburn. John Sumrall goes to Florida. Eric Morris goes to Oklahoma State. Lane Kiffin's going to LSU. We'll see what Ole Miss ends up doing. But man, I can't help but feel like this feels like the Sam Pittman hire of you just kind of had to settle for what was left over. Of all the coaching searches that got involved, this is kind of where I stand on it as well. Whether it's Auburn, Florida, any of these places. Sumrall was in the mix for all of them. Golish was in the mix for all of them. Even Eric Morris, I mean, he was in the mix for a few of these. But one of the names that was never just in the mix for any of these other major jobs was Ryan Silverfield. And I think that's where a lot of Razorback fans feel that this is where it kind of went wrong. But it's a sad day. For all of this, of what we all have gone through, to the entire season, you go 2-10 this year. You're not even talking about the game against Missouri. Who cares? You went 2-10 this year. 10 straight losses. You fired your coach in the middle of the year. You dealt with teases of winning, and you never did. And that's kind of how this coaching search feels like. You were dealt with teases of winning, but you didn't. Like, what changed? Like, how does this change? Because I feel no different than I did a week ago. Again, I'm giving Silverfield the benefit. I'm going to root for him, but how do you sell the fan base on this, which was so desperate for need for something, to be excited about something? And it just feels like you were just whatever, right? It feels like you didn't compete with the big boys, with the other places for the coach. You know, I'll say this. And I've been trying to keep this together. Maybe I'm just more like on a weird thing because I've been wanting this coaching search to be over, and now that it's over, it doesn't feel as good as I was hoping it would. And maybe that's where my current mood comes into play. And I've been trying not to rant. I've been trying not to get too pissed off about this. But the fan reaction is the fan reaction. It's insane. It's insane. Hunter Yurachek's gotten ratioed beyond belief on social media. He put out that video of this red smoke coming out of the stadium. At what point, like, what's it going to take? What's it going to take for this athletic department to understand the fans? What is it going to take for them to finally and one day wake up and understand that the fans need to be listened to and their fans need to have their voices heard? What is it going to take? Because I'm telling you right now, you putting out this messaging when you're not reading the room, you doing all of this without reading the room, you continue to push the fan base away. You continue to not listen to them. And when you continue to do that, the fans are going to start taking to drastic measures that you and no one else want. There was a protest yesterday outside the Jones Academic Center. There was like 30 or 40 people that showed up. Not a big deal, whatever. It was cold outside. Who cares? You may think of that as a joke. But that's the type of thing that fans are going to start resorting to if you do not communicate with your fan base. I'm tired of coming onto this podcast and continuing to say it each and every day, no matter the platform that I have, and I'm going to keep saying until something's fixed. If you don't start communicating with your fans, this is the reaction you're going to get. No one's going to trust you in anything that you say. And when you can tell that so many fans are upset by this, so many fans feel left in the dark, you don't even have the awareness to understand the situation. I don't understand why this keeps happening. I don't understand what's going on constantly. Are you sabotaging this thing? Are you trying to just get everyone to hate you? Are you trying to make everything worse? Why are you doing this? How can fans feel like they have any say in anything when the lack of self-awareness is so high that you just do the things that you're doing and expect everybody to just go along with it? You're a joke of a football program. A joke. And you have the audacity to just do it as business as usual. Is this the hire that's going to inspire everybody? Is this going to inspire the funding? You say it's there. I don't believe it. You say in our new investment, I don't believe it. Prove me wrong. Prove any of us wrong. I don't believe it. And it'll showcase itself once portal season pops up. I am tired of this, man. Razorback football is such a joke right now, and it's nobody's fault but those people on the hill. That's whose fault it is. I feel awful for Ryan Silverfield, man. I'm sorry, Ryan. Coach, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. This has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. I'm rooting for you like crazy, my man. But this idea that this is going to be something that's changed. What's changed? How is this going to be different from what Sam Pittman had? How is the financial situation going to be different? What changed? What are you doing now that you didn't do then with Sam Pittman? What? I can't wait to hear it. I don't want to hear anybody be snarky up there at the university, any of the media, which we know, being snarky towards the fans. Fans have every single right to be pissed. Every single right. If you're someone that's happy and giving it all about Ryan Silverfield and saying you like the hire, I'm not going to argue with you and tell you anything wrong. That's your opinion. I'm giving mine. And seeing the reaction from the fan base, this isn't just a few trolls on Twitter. This is an overwhelming L for the hiring process. If you were trying to invigorate this fan base, you failed. You failed. There's no more talking. It's about action. Winning cures all. But we're going to have to wait a while to see any wins. But if you truly care about your fan base, if you truly care about how the fans feel, have some dadgum awareness. Did Arkansas as a football program get better today? Did they? Maybe so. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm so wrong about all this. I hope he comes in and he just shuts me up, gives me the double bird, punches me in the face, kicks my dog because of how much he wins. I hope. I really hope he does. But it is just incredible, the incompetence of messaging and communication from this athletic department. If any of you at the U of A or any administrations at the U of A, if you're mad at fans for reacting in a negative way, maybe look in the mirror for why. Maybe don't look at them as just being a bunch of idiots. Maybe try to give them a little bit of respect. And maybe start to think about, well, maybe we are doing things wrong. Maybe we've made some mistakes with our fan base. Start there. Wake up. I'm tired of it. It's so bad that Eli Drinkwitz was making like pity stuff for you. Wake up, man. I just don't have words. I can't even articulate. I can barely articulate as it is, obviously. I want this to work. But I can't help but feel for all of you fans. I want to continue to talk about this. There's a lot to get to. We'll do that in a second. So stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, we know there's a lot going on here in the sports world. We also know the World Cup is coming up, and the World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. But that's why the Game Time app is really clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging those seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment that they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands, and it makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. When you pull up the app, the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. You just got to pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets loaded within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. It's that simple. The seat view changer is a game changer as well. You literally can see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets. Every match, every concert, every event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Continuing on with our Locked On Razorbacks podcast, you call it a crash out, man. I have a lot of emotions going through me right now. And I'm sorry if that was a little much for all of you, but I can't help it. I keep reiterating. No one's going to believe me. I keep reiterating. I want Silverfield to win. I want him to be the guy. I want him to succeed. I want him to go undefeated in his first year. And I will shut my mouth and I will not say a thing about him negatively. Because here's the deal, is again, I feel sorry for him. He's walking into this lion's den of Razorback fandom. I feel sorry for him. But we all know and start to see things as it takes place. And I plan on at some point this week, depending on how things go, diving deep into the processes of the coaching hire and what happened and what things I heard, things that ended up not being true, all of that. But I think one of the things that's obvious is I talked about it a week or two ago here on this podcast about how there was concerns coming from the U of A of the fan reaction to the hire. Well, I think we got the reaction, and I think we know why they were concerned. But fans, do not take, if you have frustrations, if you have anger, don't take it out on Silverfield. Like if he gets introduced at the Razorback basketball game on Wednesday, which I think he may, don't boo him. Please don't. And I know I don't like to tell people what to do, but like, don't do that. Please don't do that. That's because it's not him. You should have no issues with him. Be welcoming to him and his family. Give him the chance. Give him respect. Please do that. But if you're upset, direct your frustrations to the right people. And you know who that is. But they're going to be doing a press conference Thursday at 1 p.m. with the media, and then they're doing a celebration at the practice facility for basketball, which it doesn't look like, at least at this point in time of recording this podcast, I don't see anything as far as fans, the ceremony or anything like that. But, we'll keep you updated if anything like that changes. But I don't know if this is going to work out. I really don't. The only way it works out is if you truly have more funding than you ever have had before. We don't know contract details, at least at the time of this recording of this podcast. We don't know what the salary looks like. We know what the other coaches have. I think like Golish and Summerall got about $7.5 million per year at their respective places of Auburn and Florida. So, we'll see what that compares to it there. But here's how it works out, folks, because it goes from the jump. The coach I wanted, because people will talk to me, who do you want? Who do you want? I mean, there were names I wanted because I really wanted Golish. I talked about it last week. I wanted Golish. But it always came down to, I want the coach that's going to be financially set up the most success to succeed, like the one that would get the most money, the most funding, the NIL, third lane, whatever it is. I don't care. But whoever has the most money, if it was Bobby Petrino, do that. If it was Kane Womack, do that. If it was Ryan Silverfield, do that. Like, if this is the guy that sets you up for the highest level of success financially, then that's the guy I want. But you have to prove it. And to me, that's the only way this is going to work. He's got to hire him a great staff. He's an offensive line coach, which I know that's crazy. It's his background, but he's an offensive line coach. We'll see what the offensive coordinator situation and defensive coordinator situation looks like. I hope it's good. I hope it's the right hires, but I just don't know. I don't even know where to begin when it comes to the assembling of the staff. But it's going to come down to the players and to the talent. And you're going to have to have next level investment. Like the quarterback situation, for instance. Is it KJ Jackson? I mean, I'd be fine with it. But odds are he's transferring out. I mean, that just seems like it'd be the odds. And if he does, who do you get? Like, what's the offense look like? Like, these are all questions that we're going to ask. Because some people are like, hey, predict the record. Or, hey, how do you think it's going to go? I don't know. None of us do at this time. This is raw, real-time reaction. But if you financially set up for success, then anybody can win. As long as because I don't think he's just some trash coach. Like, let me be clear. He's not a trash coach. He's not. I don't care if it's at Memphis or not. You don't go 10-3, 11-2, and 8-4 in 3 years and you're trash. Like, that just doesn't happen. You got some levels to you. You at least can coach at some level. But if you don't have, but he's the type of guy that's like, because of only things we know right now, he doesn't do more with less. At least there's no reason to believe that right now. So instead, we got to look at it from the lens of how much talent are you going to have on this roster? And we'll base it on that. And if you have a lot of talent, then maybe you could make it work. That's the only way this is able to succeed. And that's why I think it's so important to where if you hear Hunter Yurachek, like in his statement there in his press conference or whatever, talk about our new investment financially, what does that look like? We can just say anything, but what does that look like? I hope the media, and trust me, I wish I could go there and ask questions. I wish I could go there and talk to them, but as we all know, I'm not allowed to. But I hope he gets asked and pressed on financial situations of like, why is this different? What is it different about it? Like, where is it at compared to other SEC schools? That's what's going to make the difference here. But even then, I still won't believe it until I see it. And the way we see it, folks, is about that transfer portal. That's going to be the know-all, end-all, be-all. If you go into the portal and you get big-time players, it'd be nice to get however many you need because we don't know who's staying from Arkansas. But I'm saying, say if you need a quarterback, say if KJ Jackson hits the portal and you need a quarterback. If you get somebody that's big time, like that other schools in the SEC are even going after, and he comes to your school, okay, that's a good sign. But if your entire roster is just filled with guys that were competitive at the D2 level or maybe the FCS level, and then, they had a couple of offers here and there, but none of them were the SEC schools really. Not saying they're going to be these terrible players, but it's not going to inspire the idea that it's financially better. Like financially in what way? That's also another question I have. Financially in what way? You said you're not getting into the third lane, Hunter. So what's the way that it's going to be better? Investment in your coaching staff? Investment in your scouting staff? Investment in your strength program? Like where's that money going to be going and more investment into it than what you had before if you're not getting into that third lane? Because also if you're not getting into that third lane, how do you expect Silverfield to compete? That's the biggest question we all need to be asking. You know, I can understand people are going to talk about integrity and morality, and that's fine. But I'm just being honest with you. Let's live in this reality. If you say we are not getting into the third lane that other programs in the SEC are doing of, you know, basically breaking the rules and mistreating NIL to what it's intended, okay. How do you plan on setting Silverfield up to compete against those teams that are doing that? How can he? How can he if you're not willing to do it? That's the question. That's the ultimate question. And until that gets answered, you know, we have to kind of sit here and be wondering how this is going to be different. You got to inspire people. You got to inspire the fan base. And you got to give them reasons. No talk. No basic tweets. Go in-depth analysis and breakdowns of how this is going to be better. Specifics. Because you've lost all faith in Razorback fans. You've lost all trust. The only way you can gain it back in any sort of capacity is by approaching it the right way and being very honest, transparent, upfront, everything. And be detailed oriented. You have to do that. Because the rest of it's not going to matter at all. I'm going to keep saying, and you're going to get tired of hearing it in a minute, but because I'm trying to reiterate, I want Silverfield to work. I want him to succeed. And I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to root for him. I'm going to call the hogs with him. You know, if I see him, if I ever get the chance to meet him in person, which I'd love to do, I'm going to tell him, Coach, I'm rooting for you like crazy. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. I want you to succeed. But I also want to be honest. And I want to be here for the fans. I'm not claiming to be the voice of all you fans. But I am a fan. And I do have a voice, very luckily for me. And I feel like your voice has been forgotten in a lot of ways. And I want to try to be out there and try to help out with the messaging and help out with the relations because it's not good. The relationship with the fans overwhelmingly and the majority with the university is not good. It's just not. There's some important lessons, though, that we need to learn in this whole process. And I'm going to talk about those lessons here in a second. So stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, the holidays always feel like a little easier when you're already knowing the perfect gift, right? And Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season for sending something memorable to family or friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted protection and perfection right to your door. And in this week, it's the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. It's a great gift for anybody. I mean, who doesn't love an Omaha steak? I mean, everybody loves Omaha steaks. And the reaction's always going to be the same whenever you get them the gift. When the box arrives, there's excitement and even bigger smiles when everything hits the grill. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, and meals that make hosting or weeknight cooking that much easier. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide. That's an extra 20% off your select favorites during the cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. All the discounts, all the great deals. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. There'll be a lot of these podcasts, I'm sure, folks, a lot of these breakdowns, a lot of these opinions. So some I didn't get into today, you didn't get to hear or didn't hear me talk about, don't worry, it'll happen. But I think in this whole process, which I've talked about, I'll dive into once sometime this week when things kind of slow down a little bit of what I know and what I feel like happened. But this is an important lesson for everybody. I am not the head of the correct Big J journalism reporting stuff. Like that's not me. Y'all know I'm not. I never say I'm a reporter. I never say I'm a journalist. I'm a podcaster, which people look down upon, but I don't care. I'm a podcaster. I try to be a personality, but I'm also a fan, and I try to, do things respectfully in the right way. But there's a lot of lessons that need to be learned in this, because last week we heard a report from, the guy that sales at the radio station that Alex Golesh was the guy. I talked about it, but there was no report on it. There was no legitimate reporting on it. There was nothing that said it was true. And it wasn't. It wasn't at all. Alex Golesh was even really upset after his game on Saturday when he was asked about it, because it wasn't true. There was a lot of smoke around other names. It was chaotic. It was wild. But this is why I try to do my best, folks. I try to do my best and being very careful about things I say and things that I say is true and things that aren't true, especially dealing with stuff like this, because it's important. Like, the reaction, I think, from the side of fans and how they feel about the hiring of Ryan Silverfield, I think would have been pretty negative for the most part by most. But I don't think it would have been as bad if there wasn't a report and everyone talking about Alex Golesh. I think that may have been had purposely done, truthfully. Like, you had people put that out there, and Razorback fans and everybody sets their hopes onto that. And then when it's not being true, it's a disappointment. People are mad. If that hadn't come out last week, again, people would still be probably upset, but not near to the level. Because all that did was just cause even more chaos and cause fans to believe in something that wasn't true. And it was just, again, all of it's bad. All of that element was bad. That part was bad. Everything was bad. But it's just so important to navigate through all of this and try to find out and try to say that nothing can guarantees. Because I never reported a name because I didn't know. Yeah, I know about the Franklin deal and how he was involved and how they did talk with him and interview him and they wanted him. But I never reported that he was going to be the coach or that it was happening. Like, I didn't do that. Silverfield, shout out to my guy, Matt Moscona. He's the one that told me that weeks ago when I first did that podcast on it. And I talked about it, but I never reported it. I never wanted to report it. And I just, again, I'm not saying this to like, oh, I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. I'm just saying you got to be careful with stuff like this. And that's why we always try to do our best in being careful about it. Because this is why you want to be, because the chaos that ensues, the issues that gets brought up, the problems that it causes for everybody involved. So just hopefully this is a reminder of everybody to always just do your research, listen to everybody, try to understand some things and how things work. And I'm just not talking about fans. I'm talking about to the media out there. You understand that sometimes being first isn't always what it's about. It's about being right. And for something as important as this, and now just everybody looks bad in the whole situation. This is a bad deal. So hopefully that's a lesson learned. But either way, appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter, John Nabors Show, for any questions, comments, concerns you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody. We'll see you then.